Why Irep? I think the name itself is almost self-explanatory. I represent International Film Forum. I represent International Film Festival. It's all about representation. We believe film is about representation. We need to represent ourselves, our images, our stories. We need to tell our stories. And we believe that once you tell your stories, you're representing yourselves. Particularly on the continent of Africa, where we are based, particularly as Nigerians, particularly being from a part of the world where the world information order seems to be ordered against us. There's a crucial lack of storytelling on a larger scale, on a global scale, by Africans, by Nigerians. And as I say, whether it's for embellishment, whether it's just for archival purposes, for record purposes, for cultural purposes, people need to tell their stories. There must be multiplicity of stories. And yes, there are multiplicity of stories, but not enough is being told from the various peoples of the world concerned. Most of the storytelling seems to come from a part of the world at us. And we as us need to tell our stories to other parts of the world. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Irep is not about propaganda, it's not about burnishing anybody's image. Not at all. We want the good, the bad, and the ugly. We just need to tell this diverse, this multiplicity of stories. And that's why even though there's an African bent, we say it's about stories by Africans, about Africans, Africans in the diaspora, Africans talking to other Africans in diaspora, Africans here talking to a global audience, not just to other Africans, other humanity talking to Africans, but talking about African experiences, African stories, especially those that have not been told. And that's why during the festival, and even during our monthly film screenings and the workshops and things we've done, we've always made sure it's been very inclusive. Filmmakers from Germany, from the US, from other African countries, from South Africa, from Egypt, from England, it's about bringing everything together, but also, as we say, Irep also has another purpose, which is not only about just telling stories, but about also encouraging a whole new crop of filmmakers, young Nigerian filmmakers, to understand the craft, the art and craft of documentary filmmaking, to let young Nigerian filmmakers especially see the importance of documentary filmmaking. Let them see documentary filmmaking as a craft that has to be learnt, that has to be honed, that has to be experienced, that has to be grown. Because a lot of young filmmakers think, oh, it's fiction, you know, I want to do a blockbuster in Hollywood, I want to do. They don't quite see the craft that goes into documentary film. So that's what we want to get them to do, to get into that, to understand why they have to tell their stories and how to tell those stories, that there's not only just one way to tell those stories. Let them see the rigor, the craft that goes into documentary filmmaking. Let them see filmmaking as an art, as filmmaking in its own right.